If you don't know, Neopets is an old school browser game where you take care of virtual pets known as Neopets. Last year around this time, I dedicated myself to playing Neopets every day for a month straight with the goal of becoming a Neopets master. There were a ton of highs, a ton of lows, and some gray areas like alcoholism, gambling, but most importantly, I now have 6 new children that I love and care for that I have since abandoned and left to starve. But that's just the natural life cycle of a Neopet parent. That video is still my favorite video I've ever made. However, Neopets was in a very bad shape. A few years ago, the Neopets website went from running on Flash to HTML because Flash was no longer supported on most modern browsers. So many pages and animations suddenly just stopped working. You can no longer decorate your Neo home. You can't even play the majority of their like 200 mini games. We're left with only 17. It's actually so rough, I'm sure the alcoholism makes sense now. Also, the UI on the website is awful. It's unnecessarily confusing to navigate. There's an unofficial website called NeoJelly. That website completely streamlines the Neopets experience. I actually consider this to be a requirement while playing Neopets. It's that bad. Needless to say, the website needed some major upgrades. And the Neopets team understood that, so they released NFTs and a 3D metaverse game. I need a goddamn drink. But this just in, Neopets has officially introduced a brand new era. Neopets is now under new management, and they've even reached out to me to be a part of it. Kinda. I'll break it all down for you, but first we need to acknowledge that Neopets has always kind of been in a weird state.
Oh, hi, yes. Do you have this in extra small?
Shopping for your daughter?
For Jub.
I'm not really sure what a Jub is.
Very early in the Neopets life cycle, a man named Doug Doring was introduced to the Neopets team and founded Neopets Inc. That man pushed for Scientology education to be added into Neopets among doing some other weird things. Now luckily, nothing like that actually made it into the game thanks to the original Neopet creators, but what a weird ass guy. On top of that, Neopets had a gambling controversy that got some of its games banned in Australia. There are a few other smaller controversies that I could cover here, but I think you guys get the point. In 2005, Neopets was bought by Nickelodeon, then bought by Jumpstart in 2014, and since then, it's been mostly downhill. There have been multiple data breaches compromising users' passwords and usernames, and of course the removal of Flash, addition of NFTs, and their metaverse game was not received well, to say the least. Meanwhile, there was just a consistent lack of new and exciting content because Neopets was running on a loss for over a decade. However, in early 2023, Neopets was purchased from NetDragon through a management buyout led by Neopets Metaverse's former leader Dominic Law. Neopets raised $4 million in funding from various investors, thus bringing in a new age or renaissance of Neopets. The first thing they said they did was review the most pressing community requests, which means bringing back old games, restoring old pages, and improving their community support. They've already hired a bunch of new developers and artists. On July 20th of this year, they're launching a new homepage, and even restoring old minigames starting July 25th. I can't stress enough how just insane all of this is. Neopets has been left to rot for years and years at this point. Right now I'm recording this video before any of these updates have rolled out, but if the team sticks to these 2 dates, I'll be showing the features off later in this video. But while we wait for that, I want to talk about how a few months ago the Neopets team reached out to me asking if I wanted to be a part of their metaverse experience. And of course I said yes, because I do love Neopets. I know this video may make it look like I'm kind of crapping on Neopets, but no, I'm a huge fan. Anyway, me and some guy from the Neopets team were in talks about them potentially sponsoring me for a future video because I like money. Join my Patreon. Thank you to my first 3 Patreons. I genuinely appreciate it so much. Consider joining. You get a shout out in every single long form video, some behind the scenes content like some early drafts of this monstrosity of a thumbnail that my buddy drew. If not, that's alright. I do accept bribes on Neopets. Alright, back to the video. While we were still negotiating, the Neopets team sent me this shirt. It's quite soft, I actually really like it. Then, out of nowhere, they ghosted me. For months. But I still have the login they gave me for the metaverse and I still wanted to play it, so I did. And it was really bad. First of all, when you open the website, the first thing you get is this pop-up. It says the metaverse game is no longer being worked on, but NFTs are not going anywhere. So I guess that explains why I was ghosted. This project is dead. At least I got a free shirt out of it, I guess. Now let's check out the train wreck that is/was the Neopets metaverse and its alpha stage. Instead of the 55 Neopets you can choose choose from in the original game, here you have 4. And they're all overly animated 3D freaks. Anyway, I went with Uni and named it Unicorn because I am an original. Oh my god, this looks not good. You start off in your Sims as comb that you can kind of decorate. This looks like Webkins. Straight up looks like Webkins right now. You can also feed and dress your Neopets, but other than that, there's not much to do. Once you leave the house, you'll find that there's still not much to do. Most of these places on the map are just for show. There's 5 minigames you can play. None of these are new. They're all 3D remakes of the original Neopet games. There's Termac Roll, which looks so much cooler in the trailer. Look at the different camera. No. Look at that camera angle versus the actual game. Don't give me that. Mirka Chase is the only banger there is here, though it's basically just Snake. Ultimate Bullseye sucked in the original game, and in this one, I'm just gonna say it. Snowball fights actively made me want to die. Icy Islands, crashed my browser. So I then went back into my account and it turns out nothing saved, so I had to adopt a new Neopet and do the tutorial all over again. At least then I was able to actually play Ice Islands, which is just this so exciting math minigame. The money tree, or whatever this abomination is how you get rewards for random missions. The rewards for these and rewards for playing minigames are mostly materials you can use to craft objects and food. Well, so we're gonna have an ice theme going on here, not because I really want to, but because that's all I have to my disposal. The Battle Dome is back, but I literally have no idea how to fight in it. You need at least 3 Neopets to access it. I've managed to get 2, but I don't know how I'm supposed to get the 3rd one. I need an adoption ticket, and the only other adoption ticket in this game I can find involves me logging in 2 days in a row, but I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do that when it doesn't even save my progress. So now all I can do is wait a week and check out the new Neopets website. Hello, it's been a week. Big things have been happening in the gaming world. Nicolas Cage is now playable in Dead by Daylight, and Neopets has disappointed me. Firstly, let's talk about their new homepage for their website. Neopets.com used to just open up with your pets, but now it acts as a hub for their many Neopets projects, news, and merchandise. It looks really nice so far, I mean, no complaints. The only thing giving me any pause with this is the other games they're trying to promote. Now, Neopets has a history of making and discontinuing a few different mobile games. I am aware how Neopets has been running at a loss for the longest time, so I understand trying to branch out. But there's no doubt in my mind that the main way to get people back into Neopets is by fixing the original game. Which, yes, is what they're doing right now, but this Match 3 game with 75 reviews on the Apple App Store is not the way to help. And yes, I played this game, and it reminded me of Merge Mansion. It's the same gameplay loop, but with Match 3 gameplay and fairy lore instead of this weird-ass grandma lore. They're also promoting Neopets Island Builders. This game is slightly more engaging for me than Fairy's Hope. It's a more focused island builder where you can customize and put local Neopets to work. Yet I'm seeing consistent lag. Like, again, this is not going to bring people back. There's also World of Neopets that's still being developed, and who knows, that could be fantastic, but I think you kind of know where I'm going with this.
I was wondering if there were any more Neopets mobile games, so I went to their profile on the App Store and I found this Happy Not Perfect meditation app. It turns out Neopets acquired this company in 2022, apparently to promote the mental well-being of their players. Do you know what would promote the mental well-being of their players? Fixing the damn website.
Anyway, I know most people watching are more curious about the 50 games that they promised to return to the website. So first of all, they waited until 11 p.m. my time to drop all the new games. For a while, I was convinced they were going to push the release of these games back. However, because of that late release, I spent like all day on Neopets. I made a complete tier list, completely changed out and redesigned some Neopets. Don't worry, I made a second account to keep Hot Jose 2 and Name Walter safe. So if that 11 p.m. release was intentional to build up hype, well, it worked for me. But regardless, the games are now there. And they do play. However, in almost every single game I played, the text said either undefined or nan. So you don't know how to play? Undefined. You got a game over? No, you didn't. You got undefined. Oh, did you win? Nope. Nan. Most of these games are simple enough to figure out without reading, but sometimes you just get into situations like this where it's impossible to figure out what to do. I think my favorite experience so far was trying to play Fiora's Quest, because this game doesn't say undefined or nan. This game just says nothing. There's just no text on these rectangles. So once I figured out which arbitrary rectangle to click to start the game, I was dropped into whatever the hell this acid trip is. It's actually really funny jumping into some of these games having zero context for what they are. Like, oh, this frog game is an asteroids clone. I had to figure that out on my own. And oh, of course, the squirrel things are flying down from the ceiling. Oh, now they're going up tubes and pushing me off with broomsticks. I should have known that with Nan. Other than that, I have not noticed many changes. The Neopets map is back. That's pretty cool. With that being said, us Neopet fans have been just starving for content, so this is still fantastic. Because the games are there, you can play them. You just can't understand them. Also, if you went to the Neopets after party at San Diego Comic-Con, you might want to get yourself tested for COVID. I feel bad for laughing at this, but this is just so on brand at this point. Speaking of on brand, while editing this video, Neopets released a statement saying that yesterday they were the target of a DDoS attack. You cannot make this up. Anyway, consider becoming a member of my Patreon. There you can see my unedited first impressions of the Metaverse game. Now make sure you check out last year's Neopet video if you haven't already, and thank you for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic Tuesday.